There are a slew of ballot questions you are being asked to consider, particularly on the Missouri side, and the biggest of them all is whether or not to raise the cigarette tax.
Tobacco-related illness in Missouri costs taxpayers $532 million a year.
But Barber argues it'll actually cost Missouri more by missing out on sales tax money.
This will probably be the end of us. We'll probably regroup and go back to the Kansas side.
Both sides of that debate from that excerpt from NBC Action News. Currently, Missouri has the lowest tobacco tax in the nation. Proposition B would raise the state tax on a pack of cigarettes from 17 cents to 90 cents. The proposal is projected to generate between $283 million and $423 million annually. But Lynn Horsley, where would the money go?
Well, the ballot language says it's supposed to go to schools, universities, and some to prevention. Now, just this week, some legislators have been saying this is an initiative. Once the legislature comes in session, we can change that. We don't necessarily have to follow the will of the people. Of course, the proponents of this are outraged by that. I think we'll kind of have to see how, by the margin of victory, if it passes. If it passes substantially, the legislature may have to honor that. If not, we've seen other examples where they've gone back in and not necessarily honored the intent of an initiative.
You know, in the past, there's been concerns that, you know, when the casinos came in, that was going to go to education, Stacey Cameron, and they said, oh, well, it didn't go there. And now we're seeing, even in the paper today, oh, the ad saying it's going to go to Obamacare.
Right, and the reality of the matter is the Supreme Court and the appellate courts in Missouri have been pretty clear on this, that one legislature can't bind another with respect to where that money goes. So while initially we may see the money go to education, it doesn't mean it will stay there forever. So you could see it go to the general revenue. And you also have to think about back to the Missouri lottery and the casino money. That money didn't, it supplanted the money. It didn't add to education funding. So we see a lot of the times when you have propositions like this, there may be an initial increase, but then you don't see that money continue to go up. So there is concerns whether or not this will really go to education or not.
This, though, the tax, though, would still be lower than it is, so it's still much lower than it is in Kansas, though,
and in many
Dave.
other states. And proponents say, look, just as a public health measure, it's a good idea to raise the cost of a pack of cigarettes because it will convince people not to smoke as much, quite apart from this argument of where the money goes or whether they need the money. And that's the argument they've been making really for some time, that in addition to the benefits to the state, you'll get some public health benefit as well. And voters really will sort of settle that argument next Tuesday.
But we still have this issue, though, of will the money go where it's supposed to do? And we have Republicans certainly saying we have that problem. But we also have Victor Callahan, a Senate Democrat, also saying vote no because it's not going to go where we think it's going to go.
Right. Victor said that. Now, I talked to Jason Hancock, our State House correspondent, this week, and he said that the legislators who are slated to chair the budget committees in the legislature are actually for this. So his feeling is it very well may initially go where it's intended. And as Dave said, I think even if it doesn't always go where it's intended, the proponents argue that the tax right now is so low. We really have a terrible problem with people smoking in Missouri. This would be a deterrent, especially for young people starting to smoke.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind, Nick, is tax money is always fungible, no matter what you spend it on. That means that, as Stacey points out, it can supplant money, not increase it. So you could theoretically keep every dime of this money going to schools. It just means you spend less on schools out of another bucket of money. It is a tax increase for the state of Missouri. Voters should be clear on that. But there is this other component of raising the cost of a pack of cigarettes in Missouri to improve health in the state.
And let's make this point clear. They were wrong on their estimates of how much revenue would come in as a result of the casinos. And there's no guarantee that this is going to be 280 or 400 million. It's an estimate. So we could actually see that revenue fall. And eventually that could mean a decrease in funding to education if it's used to supplant the money that's already going there. So the education issue is always a red herring because nobody's against education. So if you see a potential sin, smoking, and we're going to tax that more because it'll go to education, well, of course, everybody's going to be through that. Politicians use that to get this kind of tax paid. So I think the proponents of it have good cause to point to this, but we do need to go back to the fact that almost $500 million a year in Medicaid-associated costs for tobacco tobacco-related illness. This is really the issue that they should be pushing to get people to pass this tax.
Well, and I think there's a strong contingent of groups that have backed this, and they say they're going to hold the legislature accountable to spend it as it's intended.